Hi, I'm Mike Deluca, clinical social worker and therapist at Summit Achievement. Grew up on the North Shore of Massachusetts, just north of Boston. I spent a lot of time on the beach as a kid. First job was a lifeguard. Definitely took my job really seriously. My friends would all make fun of me for it. Had, the red shorts and the whistle. That was me, 100%. Yeah, and it started me on an interesting path towards just looking for jobs that I felt like had value and meaning. And hindsight, it's funny to look back that even 16-year-old Mike was kind of invested in that. Went to college in Vermont, got a degree in adventure ed, set me on a path towards doing more wilderness work, which really opened my eyes to the power that wilderness could have. I got a job as an outward bound instructor. I did that for almost 10 years, different schools across the Eastern Seaboard. And that really awoken for me the power that wilderness could have specifically for young people to make change and growth. Fell in love with that methodology, and that led me to Summit. Because one of the challenges I had was I felt like I was having these powerful experiences, but it was so difficult to transition those back to kids' homes, back to those young people's normal lives. And they almost had like a grief around losing that when they returned. It's hard to replicate. And I loved Summit because of the emphasis they put on that transition to make sure that these skills didn't stay in the vacuum of the powerful wilderness, but that they could come home to families and to communities and schools. And they did that through a lot of really interesting ways that were really different from other models that I saw out there. I mean, they had a school, they had therapists, the families were way more involved in the journey of their children, and that was really exciting for me to be a part of as a guide. I was a guide for about 4 years, fell in love with that world. It ignited an interest for me to go back and pursue my own clinical degree. I got my master's degree in social work in 2014, worked for a couple years, 4 or so, as a community mental health center. Amazing education there about how to be a professional therapist. And then I returned to the clinical team in 2018 as one of the therapists. What I love about working with Summit students is being able to meet them where they're at and meet kids who are struggling. They're in a spot where they've tried a lot of things before. They've done outpatient, they've done residential potentially, and they just feel kind of stuck and they don't know what to do and they're frustrated by that. But on some level, they've made the choice that they want to make a change in their lives and they want to do something different. And that's kind of who we serve. We work with kids who choose to come here. It's not an easy choice. They're often pretty anxious and angry about it on some level because it's a challenge. But I think that is the piece that really sets us apart in many ways, is that we want to work with kids who want to do the work. And we work with kids with depression, anxiety, often pretty neurodiverse students with ADHD and learning challenges. And they come here to kind of be vulnerable, to be able to open up that stuff, expose that to the world a little bit so that people can get in and kind of help them out with it. We're kind of about leaning into those challenges, not trying to hide them and put them under the blanket. And I think one of the more important things that maybe parents could remember in the course of this journey is struggle is a part of the process, and really there isn't any progress without the struggle. And so when their children start to struggle while they're here, it's really important that they can kind of give them space to navigate those challenges on their own and have confidence that they have the ability to do so. And I think that is a really important component of the work that as a clinician I do, is support parents through that journey, because it's really hard to see your kids struggle. And that's a big part of, I think, what we try to create for a space, is that kids can learn how to navigate the world on their own, and parents can kind of be there to support them. Because I think that's the thing that's more transitionable back, because kids have to live their own lives. Parents aren't there to live it for them.